Well, it's not just the Americans that BP executives are working with. Their Russian overtures continue to pace this year. An $8 billion share swap with Rosneft to help boost those much-needed reserves is drawing a variety of reaction. The billionaire partners in its other Russian venture, TNK-BP, are trying to block that deal. But do all the shareholders feel the same way? Well, I'm going to ask one now, because joining me live from Moscow is Ivan Mazalov. He is Director of Prosperity Capital Management, which has TNK-BP on its portfolio. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. First of all, do you approve this decision not to approve the dividend?
Well, the decision by Russian partners not to approve the dividends will have to be considered by TNK-BP board, which consists of both Russian and BP partners and independent directors. So when that happens, we will be able to see, how TNK-BP decided. But the Russian partners, of course, they are trying to put all pressure at their disposal on BP for try to rectify this deal, because in their view, and which is fairly obvious, BP has breached the preemptive right given to TNK-BP on all Russian new ventures.
And do you think that they would have a good case to block this Rosneft deal in court, and could it come to that?
Well, I'm certainly not going to preempt the court decision, but on the surface it looks that they have a very strong case. The shareholders' agreement does say that all new projects in Russia should be considered by TNK-BP first, and if TNK-BP waives its preemptive right, then the partners can go ahead on their own.
So is there a way that TNK-BP would be happy to let the Rosneft deal go ahead? Is it a question of compensation? Is there something that could be done to sweeten this deal?
Well, there are quite a few moving parts in this situation. Obviously, ideally, TNK-BP would want to block this deal because the long-term value of TNK-BP very much depends on their ability to access Arctic Shelf, which is now restricted solely to Russian state-owned companies. And BP's gatecrashing is a sort of exemption that actually solidifies this restriction. So TNK-BP would rather not see BP gatecrashing this unliberal regime. On the other hand, politically, a Russian government wants the deal, and it will be quite difficult for TNK-BP to stop it completely. So another compromise for them would be to muscle in on this deal in some way. So we'll see how it works out. It's also not very straightforward, because the deal can be a package deal with right to explore Arctic Shelf and share swap. And I'm not sure that TNK-BP will be in position to execute the share swap the way it was accorded by BP and Rosneft.
Now, how much of a threat, if any indeed, does this BP and Rosneft's strategic alliance pose to TNK-BP's growth, both in Russia and also abroad?
Well, you're absolutely right to mention the international side. Russian side I already mentioned, and it is a long-term future, of course, but investors obviously put a certain value on this long-term, especially when we talk about such strategic things as oil and gas reserves. And any valuation of TNK-BP will be very dependent on TNK-BP's ability to live beyond its existing resource life and avail itself of opportunities in the potentially very well-endowed Russian Arctic Shelf. Besides that, TNK-BP has very strong international aspirations, and which they already openly showed when they agreed to buy some of the assets that BP put on sale. And Rosneft will be definitely a very strong competitor to TNK-BP internationally, because they want to build on this BP alliance just as well.
Okay, Mr. Mazalov, thank you very much indeed for joining us.